You don't want to hurt the boy, Harvey. It's not about what I want. It's about what's fair. You thought we could be decent men in an indecent time, but you were wrong. The world is cruel, and the only morality in a cruel world is chance, unbiased, unprejudiced, fair. Oh, hello. Um, Sorry, I get excited. This week's episode, I had I was asked yesterday about Two Face, his origin from the Dark Knight. So I thought, why not do my second episode on this based on one of my second favorite DC villain, Two Face, which I'm pretty sure he would find that awesome because he has a thing about number two since he split his personality split in two. He always used to do crimes that have to do like on the second. There was this one where I read a comic where he struck on February 2nd on the Gotham Second National Bank because it was 222. His thing is twos. So that's why I thought, oh, that's funny, cool, a little nitpick thing there for real. Not real, like more enthusiastic comic book lovers like myself. I would get a kick out of this. But yeah, this week's episode is Two Face. Funny thing, if you see my name right here, Harvey Kent, in the original comics, and when he was brought up, his name was originally Harvey Apollo Kent. Apollo is like a nickname because he was so handsome, and everybody loved him because of how handsome he looked. So he was known as the Apollo. But Bob Kane switched it to Dent because his surname Kent was definitely similar, like to Clark Kent, who's also a well-known superhero at the time, or still is. I don't know why I said at the time, but it went from Harvey Kent to Harvey Dent. So I thought that was funny. That was really cool. Nitpick little info. The more you know. But back to the topic at hand. I was asked yesterday by my coworker, like, "Hey, like you might know this." I'm like, "Yes, I might." He was like, "So Harvey Dent, is that how he became Two Face in the 2008 film The Dark Knight?" And I told him, "Well, not exactly, but for the most part, yeah. Like in the Batman animated show, uh, that's how he became Two Face. He explosion, he got in the fire, and his face got burned. But in the comics, he was on trial. He was trying someone because he's a attorney. He's a lawyer. He's the district attorney of Gotham, the White Knight. He was trying Sal Maroni, and he had him on the stand, and he was giving him questions, and he tells him, cross-examining is the official term, and he was like, "Oh, my stomach," and he goes, "Okay, so can I have my medicine?" They had a little tub, little thing. He opens it, and then it's acid, so he throws the acid into his face, and half of his face gets melted off by the acid. So no, but the scene in The Dark Knight was very much similar, close to it, than in the comics, where the courtroom scene where he's cross-examining the guy, the criminal, and Sal Maroni's just sitting there watching. And when but it turns out different, obviously, because the guy pulls out a gun and tries to shoot Harvey, and Harvey's like, "Nope, bitch," pop, takes him out, and yada yada yada. But Batman Forever has a much more accurate Two-Face creation, even though they show it for like a second, and like a news clipping where they're trying to talk about like they're talking about Two Face escaping um, Batman, yada yada yada, and it shows like Tommy Lee Jones, Harvey Dent gets splashed in the face, and he has a paper like, oh, and that's how it happens in the comic book. Gets splashed in the face in the courtroom scene, and yeah, so I think Batman Forever did a much better interpretation of how he was made, but even though it was more comic book esque style, and then Nolan's universe was more grounded in the real world where he just got lit on fire. Half of his face got blown to smithereens. So yeah, that's what I told him. I was like, oh, so you say you did know the answer? I'm like, yeah, because apparently that was a discussion that him and two of my other coworkers had because he asked him like, oh, like he was curious to see if that's how it happened in the comics. And sure enough, as I was like walking past my one of my department managers, he was like, "Hey, we had a conversation today." He's like, "Oh yeah, I know." He told me, he's like, "Oh yeah, you gave him like told him like, yeah, I gave him the answer, and I told him I repeated what I said to him." He was like, "Oh okay, yeah, I do remember that happening in Batman Forever." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "So you did know the answer?" And I'm like, "Naturally." Um, so I'm wearing a hat. You kind of know you're wondering why I'm wearing a hat because in some versions, Two Face, Harvey Dent has a fedora because back then everybody had a fedora. So I was like, it'd be a nice little wink to it. Um, but I'm not just talking about that, like the winks, the little fun. I still got to get used to this. The fun little Easter eggs, like the hat, the name, stuff like that. But also going to talk about some of my favorite Harvey Dent Batman storylines where I got my stacks. There's four books that I have, but I'm gonna dive into those a bit. But Harvey Dent was a illustrious, incredible lawyer for the DA. Like he was a handsome man. That's why they named him Apollo. He was married to a woman named Gilda Dent because that's his wife. So they got married. So he, with the pressure of the marriage, work, the cases, he had it untreated. What is it? Mental illness because he was. I think he was physically abused by his father, like beatings, not the other one. But he had a unfiltered rage as well. Some of the comics that I read, like he had his origin stories, like depending on who's writing it. But he had a split personality. Every now and again, it would pop up, like his rage, his quiet rage, where he tried to show that he was always the perfect Apollo, like no, no anger, no, nothing like that. He had to be perfect, like Jacko and Hyde. Another fun fact: Bob Kane created Two Face, like in reminiscence to a little love letter to Robert Louis Stevenson's "The Strange Case of Doctor Jekyll and Mister Hyde." Another one of my favorite books because it's really cool. I liked it, and he wanted to do like a little like good and bad. That he wanted to show that Two Face is the embodiment of what everyone's going through. Like everyone's good and everyone's a little bad. And it's just up to you who lets out what side more. And so he's full of undiagnosed mental illness, which happens. No, doesn't which it gets bottled up to the point where when the acid hits his face, it like mentally breaks him because it scars his face, mentally scars him, and he lets his other personality shine through, and he gets born out of hate and rage, and everything becomes Two Face. And there are some issues where he gets rehabilitated, his face gets plastic surgery, fixed up, and then he goes back. He always goes back to being Two Face because their writers, certain writers, love Two Face. Like I love Two Face. Like he's my second favorite villain. And so he, like, I know what you're thinking. Like, how can this lawyer, like, what is he? How can he be a Batman villain? Well, he's one of Batman's failures because he couldn't bring Harvey Dent back to the light. Like, yeah, every now and again, he helped them out, or um, Batman trained Harvey Dent when he went off to him and Robin, like, left Gotham to go to Switzerland, I think, for vacation. So he thought, oh, Gotham will be unprotected. So he thought he'd train Harvey Dent. So he trains Harvey Dent to take his place for a while without revealing his identity. So Harvey Dent doesn't know Bruce Wayne is Batman, even though, like, um, which is weird and kind of funny that Harvey Dent is in most of comics iteration. Harvey Dent is one of Bruce Wayne's childhood friends. So they known each other since they were kids. And other ones, he just like uh just someone who trying to help him get reelected because he likes a campaign, like his slogan, like in the Dark Knight. They didn't have any real interaction before. But most comics, he and Bruce Wayne are like old school friends. But not only was he trained by Batman, he was also trained by one of DC's most deadly assassins, Deathstroke. So with the training from two of the greatest DC fighters, uh, he is dangerous, like one of the most dangerous non-powered villains, because he's got both of both of their training, which Batman doesn't lose often. He always comes out on top, and Deathstroke rarely loses. And one of the people he fights and loses, or can fight into a stalemate, is the entire Justice League. Like, this is no joke. There's a comic book storyline called Identity Crisis, where Deathstroke took down the Flash, took down the Green Lantern, took down the Green Arrow, Black Canary, Zatanna. And those are some of the strongest superheroes right there. Magic, Power Ring, and all that. He takes them all down like they were nothing. He planned it perfectly. Like, in there, he even said, like, or Green Arrow, because it was from his perspective, he's saying there wasn't Superman or Batman there, but Deathstroke took them all down. So he trained Two Face. So how much more deadly can you get? Two Face also has a Achilles heel, just like in The Dark Knight and Batman Forever. It's a coin. He's known for flipping a coin, as you can see in this hand. I don't know if you can see it. There's a coin. I want to say a silver dollar. One's perfect face on it, and the other's like scarred. He flips it. Head's good, tail's bad. Due to his personality split, he has to flip a coin when it comes to making decisions. Sometimes, like if he wants to rob a bank, are they going to kill people in it, or are they going to let them live? Are they going to rob this bank, or are they going to rob that bank? It's like he just flips it. Flip of a coin, chance, live or die kind of thing. That's one of his gimmicks. So, and he always wears such nice tailored suits, split in half. So when I saw him in Batman Forever, I was like, oh, that guy's so cool. He got like face, cool jacket, like flips a coin. That's awesome. Then The Dark Knight like brought him even cooler because he was just like in the beginning that I did this video, like he had a point. The world is cruel. And everything's just like a flip of a coin. That's how you know. So yeah. Now on to some of my favorite comic books that he's been in. Now these are all primarily Two-Face based stories. And I'm not going to go through each one because I won't have time, but I'm just going to give you the gist of it. Some of them are like origin stories. Like this one, for example, Two Face Year One. These are part of the Batman series, but they did year one of each of the villains, where they pop up and they do their first year run. But I did love this artwork, and this one is just like the introduction to Harvey Dent, or their Mark Sable's telling of Harvey Dent's fall. So I'll show you a little art piece. That was his running, who he was running against. And Mort Weinstein, he was a corrupted government official. He was on Maroney's payroll. And then he finds out like, that Harvey Dent's kind of crazy because his assistant tells him. And so this is the scene where he becomes Two-Face. And in this one, Bruce Wayne and Batman aren't in there. And this is the last shot, which I really love because the suit is awesome. Sorry, ignore the crinkling sound. So that was book one. Book two is him trying to still go to being district attorney, but he enlists the help from the other criminals like Joker, the Penguin, the Riddler, Poison Ivy. I'm trying to show you because there's a clip where they're doing not a clip, it art piece kind of thing where he has them like doing phone calls. I think I found it. Oh no, hold on. Sorry. Because he has the Joker too answering the phone, and he's like, "Oh, you vote for Harvey Dent, or I'll kill you." And he's like, "But really though, I'll kill you." And then Two-Face hits him in the head with the phone. Where is it? Because he's still running up against Mort Weinstein. And here we go. These are the criminals who are just like helping him. And you can see Joker being Joker gets hit in the face. And then at the end, after he kills Mort Weinstein, spoiler alert, Batman captures him and sends him to prison. Now, this one is by Paul Jenkins. This artwork is really cool, but again, it like freaked me out a bit because of how dark it looked. And this one's called Batman, Jekyll and Hyde. And in this one, Two-Face is trying to get rid of Harvey Dent, like trying to get rid of the good side because Harvey Dent's like done. He doesn't want to be like two people anymore. So what they do is they kidnap a scientist and they try to do what Henry Jekyll tried to do. Yeah, Henry Jekyll tried to do was get rid of the bad side, but he's trying to get rid of the good side, so people will be more to their aggressive anger side. And you could see the art. The art is really great in this, but like I don't know, some of the Two-Face bits, I was like a little disturbed by it. And then I'm trying to see it good. Because in this one, we find out that Two-Face was like an angry child kind of thing, where his dad like yelled at him, amused him, and stuff like that. Or at least I believe this one's it. Look at this. I really like how they did Two-Face. He has that creepy feel in this art piece. But obviously, Batman triumphs, obviously, at the end. Now, these two are my absolute favorite Two Face stories because they're done by Jep Loeb and Tim Sale, and Tim Sale's art is incredible. But this is the most famous Two Face story, but also like Batman story. Well, Batman story and Two Face because it's the birth of Two Face. It's called The Long Halloween, and I know most people read this. This was most the Batman, that recent Batman movie was loosely based on The Long Halloween. So was The Dark Knight loosely based on. Like there were some things in it that made it really good. Um, Basically, in this one, their Batman's on the hunt, like serial killer who is like killing. This killing starts on Halloween, and then it goes from. It's a whole year process. Each holiday, the killer strikes, and I do love this because the Calendar Man, who's not really on my radar of favorites, is a Hannibal Lecter esque style villain in this. Like Batman's going to him and asking him for like this, that, and the other because Calendar Man's gimmick is all about the holidays, the days, calendars, yada yada yada. So Batman's asking him for help in a way, and Calendar Man does like his whole bit. And so this entire time, Batman and Harvey Dent and Jim Gordon are all trying to figure out who's doing these killings. And the again, Maroni is the prime suspect in, they're trying to stop Maroni and Falcone. And Maroni gets caught and he's trying to talk. And then Falcone tells Maroni, gives him a thing of acid. And he does this again right into Harvey Dent's face. And Batman even says his words, "I will never forget the sound of his screaming," because Batman is right there, incognito. And then this is his wife, Gilda. And yeah, so he becomes Two-Face, and then he escapes. He befriends Grundy because, well, why not? And so he goes off and tries to go after Maroni and Falcone on his own. And then, oh, you see it here, right here? Calendar Man in a Hannibal Lecter-esque cage. Now, the art in this is really good. I love this. It's really awesome. The story they're trying to tell was incredible. They think Harvey Dent is the holiday killer, which he isn't, but he kind of was, but kind of wasn't. Turns out to be one of Falcone's kids. And Batman beats the literal piss out of him. And like he does all this stuff because they framed his friend and he couldn't do anything about it. So Two-Face is still on the run, and he goes off and gathers up villains to help him find Maroni. No, not Maroni. Sorry, Falcone. And as you can see, Falcone, he has a scratch from Catwoman earlier on. That's what he has. Same thing kind of happens in Batman. And so he kills Falcone. And yeah, I love the art. It looks so cool because it's like a noir. Like I love this book because of the color in the comic. Like it gives off that awesome noirish style feel. And then Two-Face, still being Harvey Dent, turns himself in because he still believes in the law. And then the ending tripped me out because I'm not gonna spoil it because I kind of want you guys to read it. But the ending really is trippy. Uh, but yeah, and then that leads to its sequel, Dark Victory, where same artist, same team pair. These two are incredible together. Two Face again is going after like the rest. Like he wants to be king of the underworld now, so he's trying to get them to join him. So while he's doing this, Robin's family dies, and Batman adopts Robin, and so Two Face. Towards the end, Two Face and his gang of villains break into the Batcave, and Batman and Robin first team up in this, beat them all to a pulp, and then they become the iconic duo, dynamic duo. But this is a great sequel. Um, I love it. I love these two are probably my favorite. Some of my favorite Batman stories starring Two Face, and like so good. I highly recommend y'all reading these if you're going to read anything Batman related. These are the first ones to read. If you're going to be a fan of Two Face like myself, again, these two are the first ones to read, and then these. There are other like Two Face stories out there, but I haven't. I can't. I really want to read them all, but these are the ones that I love the most, and I reread these quite a bit. I might reread The Long Halloween again because it's that fantastic. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, uh, have a good day. Freeze frame.